Good morning, folks. Ann here. Welcome to my channel. It's a new channel, and I plan on making this about my journey with weight loss. But let me give you a little bit of background. I've been a yo-yo dieter for many, many years. I did succeed back when I was 48 years old. And the way I did it was on a low-carb diet. And since then, keto became very popular. And now we have carnivore. And I'm on board with those different diets. I think I believe in them. I don't believe the American standard diet has been successful. If it was, we wouldn't have all these people that have terrible ailments, myself included. I have diabetes. So I lasted about 5 years back when I was 48. I exercised. I ate as healthy as I thought I could eat, but I ended up failing. My life changed. I met someone. I didn't take the time to do my exercise and going out to dinners, and everything just fell apart, and I started gaining weight. And I've been on yo-yo diets ever since, and I even tried carnivore about a year ago. I was going to start a channel, but I didn't last. So this time I thought, well, let me give myself a little bit of time and get through that initial weaning of the carbs, because as I am a diabetic, it was a little difficult, and sometimes I still get those spells, but I was a little difficult trying to get off the carbs because I'd have sugar lows, and I was always afraid of that. So I think I'm getting there. Like I said, I still have occasional spells where I have to eat something, a carb or something. I could feel it. You know how you get the shakiness, for those of you that are diabetic? And so I'm 68 years old, and I'm not going to give you my exact weight because I'm still not ready to do that. When I lose 20 pounds, I'll share my before and after pictures, but I do intend to lose a lot more than that. I need to. I have back issues. Now I have a heart flutter, although I think my blood pressure is still not very high. I think I've been keeping that down. I never had a problem with my blood pressure too much. But as you could hear me breathing, I'm just walking slow. And I've been doing this for about a month. I walk about a half a mile. So I want to keep it up. I'm here at a cemetery that's close by my home. Gorgeous view down this way. I live in the lower part of the Adirondacks, southern Adirondacks, the foothills. And we had a long, cold winter, and we were stuck indoors for a good part of it. Actually, it's just starting to get nice within the last week. But I have diverticulitis, so I've also had a couple of bouts of that, with it lasting 2 to 3 weeks each time. So, that really sets you back on things. And the longer you sit in that chair, that recliner, the harder it is to get out of. So this is something I feel I really need to do. And I'm going to give it my all. Like I said, I've been going for about a month, gradually decreasing my carbs. And It's 8:30 in the morning. Just, I hear a woodpecker. But, so I hope, I can inspire some of you seniors that are trying to start it too. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to get on the carnivore diet, but right now, the way that I've been eating, I honestly think that I'm more on the ketovore diet. After a month, I think that's what I'm doing, because I'm not eating a lot of carbs. And the thing is, if I don't spike my blood sugar, then I can control any cravings. In fact, I don't get cravings. And I would imagine it's the same way the GLP-1 pills work. They're supposed to take away your hunger. But I get hungry at certain times, but if I don't spike my blood sugar, I will not get any cravings. See how hard it is for me to breathe? This is something I really have got to do if I want to live any kind of quality of life. Because if I don't, it's downhill. I'm headed towards being in a wheelchair because of back issues. And, the diabetes, everything that could happen. I'm very much overweight. So this is something that I just have to do. I don't have a choice, because I told all my family, I'm not married, I don't have any children, but I told my siblings and relatives that if something happens to me, I wouldn't want to live with any of them to have them take care of me. So that means I'd be in a nursing home. And I recently visited a good friend of mine that had a stroke. And he was in a rehab center. And I remember going to visit him. It was just last year. And he would tell me how a couple of the people would mistreat him. They wouldn't get him a bedpan in the middle of the night. And I didn't think, I thought he may be overreacting. But I've read reviews, and I think it does happen. It certainly does, because we all know there's good and bad people in every single industry. So this little section of the cemetery that I just walked, I'm almost back to my car. That is a quarter mile. I measured it on Google Maps. Now there's a second half to the cemetery, but it's a steep hill, and I'm not ready for that. This is a slow process. So the first couple of weeks I only walked one time around, and that was enough for me, but I'm up to 2 times around. And I'm going to keep it at this 2 times for as long as it takes. I'm not going to rush into this. I'm not going to rush in and end up getting injured, with something happened on my back, or plantar fasciitis, or something that sets me back for 2 months, because it's hard as heck to get back into it. What a beautiful day. I'm loving it out here, and the sunshine, it's so good for you. So I know a lot of us seniors have problems with this. When you go out and we all see each other, we're all kind of typical seniors, old age folk. But when I see somebody that looks like they're my age, 68 in a few months, and they're in shape and they're out doing things and enjoying their life, it gives me inspiration to think I can get back in shape again. So it can be done, but it's a slow process. Now I get up every day, I watch those no carb life video. That's my go-to channel to give me some motivation. It's about a carnivore diet, but Dave Mack, the host, he has people come on and tell their story, and I get something out of every single one of those stories, whether it's something that relates to my problems or just the inspiration and to know that so many people turn it around. Carbs are not good for you, and metformin and all those drugs, they're not fixing the problem, the root of the problem. They're not getting to the bottom of the problem. And I'm not on metformin. They tried to put me on a couple of years ago, and my blood sugar A1C was 79, and I told my doctor, I said, she wanted to give me the metformin. I said, just let me see if I can do it on my own, and if I can't, then I will get on it. Well, a year later, I got my blood work done, and it was 6.4. I was doing pretty good. And this was just 2023 to 2024. Now, this last year, I'm due for another blood work, but I went to a new nurse practitioner, and she was my primary physician. And I went in there, it was after my diverticulitis flare-ups. I was in bad shape. I could barely walk. And I was resigned. I was going to do whatever she says. If she wanted me on the metformin, then I'd get on it. If she wanted me on blood pressure medicine, then I'd get on it. So she comes into the room, and she starts looking at the computer, and she starts talking about my cholesterol and my blood pressure, which I had just taken when I went in there. It was 144 over 88, I think it was. And I was going to do what she said. If she said I needed the blood pressure medicine, I was going to do it. But I told her, I said, well, the only thing that I don't want to do is get on any lisinopril. That's a blood pressure medicine. I heard stories. In fact, my friend that had the stroke, he was on that stuff. And plus, I reviewed it. I searched out, and I just didn't want to get on the lisinopril. I told her, I said, please put me on something other than that. And this lady, she's about in her late 30s or early 40s. She just started going off. Her voice raised. I'm sure the people in the hallway heard her. And she started yelling at me. I felt like she was yelling at me. How dare you talk like that? You don't want lisinopril. All the medicine is the same. It doesn't matter which one you take. And her arms are all over the place. And she's holding her head like this, like I'm really annoying the hell out of her. And I wasn't in there 5 or 10 minutes. And I looked at her and I said, what is the problem? Just give me something else. Why are you so insistent that it's lisinopril? And she continued yelling. So I got up, I walked to the door, I looked at her, I said, I think you might be the one that needs to get on some medicine. I said, you need to calm down. And she's flail, well, you're annoying me. And I walked out. So I didn't get my latest physical, so I don't know what my numbers are. But it might be a blessing because I got so motivated. And this was about a month ago when I started my diet this time. But I got very motivated because I thought, this is my chance to try to get this right without the medicine and try to get my numbers down again, because I'm sure it went up again from 6.4. I haven't been that great with the health issues. I've been chair bound. I haven't been getting out a lot over the winter, and I've been eating a lot of bad foods like potato chips and dip, and like what else is my go-to? Ring dings. And I didn't buy just one ring ding package. I bought the whole box. And like that, things like that. And I knew what I was doing to myself, but I couldn't stop. Because like I said, once I spike my blood sugar, the game is on. and I really think it's all about that blood sugar spike. So I get up in the morning, and I have had like one piece of bread here or there, but one piece of bread does not spike my blood sugar that much, or even that I even notice. So occasionally I might have a slice of bread, but that really is rare. I'm trying to even reduce that. Because if I can go without no carbs, I think I could handle it that way. And I don't like, I don't want the drugs again. I don't want to be hurting so bad. The arthritis, the pains in every single joint. Your bones cracking whenever you move. Barely able to walk a block. I started having Walmart deliver my food. I wasn't even going out to the grocery store in the last year. But this year's going to be different. I got plans. My sister is on a diet too. And we got some camping spots reserved. And we plan on going out on a boat. So I'm looking forward to that. And it's no fun if I don't feel good. In fact, I'm still worried. I don't want to ruin her vacations because we're going a few times, for 2 or 3 days here and there. And I'm worried about it. I don't want to ruin her. She's 7.3 years younger than me. And I'm not sure if I could keep up with her. And I want to be helpful on the boat. We got brothers and other family members that are going to be coming, but if it's just her and I out there, I don't want her to do all the work. And from what I've been taking this boat course that we need to take in New York State now, it's mandatory, and there's a lot to it. It's not easy just having a boat, but at least I have these things to look forward to. And then I have a camp up on the mountain there. Just it's a single wide on an acre of land. So I do go up there every now and then, and I just turn the water on after the winter. So that gives me a lot of work to do up there, because boy does it need it. And I have family up there close by, so that's a good thing. I even think sometimes I should move up there, the fresh air. But look, it's not bad down here either. And this cemetery is so quiet. Of course it is. But early in the morning, I never see anybody out here. But I'll be walking and doing some hikes up there too that I plan on bringing you along. But anyway, folks, that's my story. And I hope you'll join me on my journey. And I know some of you are not into that no carb thing. And, you know, everybody got to do what's works for them. That's the way I look at it. So my sister's on an entirely different diet. So, and I don't eat vegetables either. Very rarely. I'm cutting down on my vegetables, although I never was a big vegetable eater. I'm eating a lot of meats. A lot of meats, a lot of eggs, a lot of butter, although I'm trying to cut down a little. I think I was overdoing it with that. And bacon. I know it all sounds like a carnivore diet, but I'm not committed to that. I gotta just do this one day at a time. But I swear by that, everything I've heard and the success that people have had. But a lot of people suggest you start out with a keto diet. And I think I'm more on a ketovore diet. But, you know, one day at a time is all I could do. But anyway, listen, thank you for coming on my channel. And I hope you will visit again. Bye, folks.